thought I'd come back with a little reading just before I go. I don't know how the volume is. I don't know. A little bit of Handel. Oh, I love this part. I love this part of Handel's water music. Oh. Suite in F major. How copyright goes with classical music, but we'll see. So I thought I'd do a little reading from another novel, because I don't want to just... This one's a little old. I'm just wondering where I should get some... Oh. See, this novel goes back to the period of Enlightenment. It's a historical fiction that I started working on a very long time ago. Okay, no. Oh, we'll see if I get any copyright for this. Hopefully not, because it's classical music, but I don't know. I'm just randomly looking at something to read from, and I don't know what. Someone here. Oh, hi. How are you? I'm looking for... this is another novel that I worked on a really long time ago. I was just thinking of reading from this. It's like old. Story time, yeah. This is a historical... Right now I'm just randomly looking at... Like, just grabbing it from the middle of the book. I don't even know where this is or what it's about. I'm just gonna start. I mean, I know what it's about, but I don't know what this part... There are some good pieces here. I just don't know. Oh. This might be interesting. It's very, very old-fashioned. It's like the 1700s, the 18th century period of Enlightenment, where such a complicated novel, I don't even know where to begin talking about it, but I'll just start reading from it to get an idea of it. I spoke not for... I don't know, I just smack in the middle of it. I spoke not for a long time, and I contemplated much on all she had said. Jeanne Antoinette attempted at remaining silent amidst her struggles in suppressing her sobs. Let me find some music. It's a little... Oh, wait. Handel's a little quieter. I'm just thinking here what this is about, because I'm trying to find a part. You see, the book is about the Enlightenment period and also science and technology in that era, but also about its philosophers, all put into into fantasy, not fantasy, into fictional settings with fictional characters merged along with actual characters. I mean, real life historical personas. Jeanne Antoinette placed her arms in mine, drew near me, and smiled with even more enthusiasm than heretofore, as we followed Madame de Châtelet, who urged us, especially me, to call her by no other name than Émilie. So this is a real-life person, actually. Madame Châtelet was the lover of Voltaire, and she was a very scientific woman. Yeah, I kind of just streaming from myself here. I'm just reading from my book. Just a little chill night here. I do that sometimes, read from my novels that I write. Actually, I did it like 2-3 times. So Madame du Châtelet was a real person in the 18th century, historical figure, and the lover of Voltaire. So I'm just randomly reading. Madame de Châtelet, who urged us, especially me, to call her by no other name than Émilie, for she considered all her guests as dear friends. This is from first person. So it's from the POV of a girl called Lisette. This mirthful liberality with which formalities were so easily disposed pleased me very much indeed, and I felt a sort of freedom overwhelm me that I had never sensed in the confines of Versailles, where to adhere to strict etiquettes was never a matter of choice. The Lisette my brother René could never tolerate had now found a dwelling place she almost believed to be her home. But there was more. We halted before the entrance that led to the gallery. Jeanne Antoinette pressed my arm, tightened her hold, and Madame du Châtelet, after a short frap on the door, revealed a salon of rich chandeliers and panelled walls, filled with ostentatious tapestries from Bruges and of the 17th century, which transported me to the locations of the 7 wonders of the world, such as the ornate tomb of King Mosul or the exotic, awe-inspiring pyramids of Egypt. But I am running ahead too swiftly, for the first tapestry were the last scenes I wanted to observe upon my entrance. This is the writing. I can't see that. So it's from here. And I always like to handwrite before I Sorry, I'm just reading here. Sorry, my relative, she came in. So the commotion of prattle, drinking, eating, shuffling of cards, and laughter that centered around a circular table, to which was supplemented by fire, elegantly attired men, died as fast as though it had been shot, and all curious eyes were fixed on Jeanne Antoinette and I. Jeanne Antoinette is actually, as we know her now, Madame de Pompadour. Okay. I'm not going to be up long, just a little bit. Well, monsieur, cried Voltaire, rising from the table, I am of the opinion this mediocrity which we call amusement in the form of cards is about to be surpassed by a higher felicity. Allow me to introduce to you the youngest member. I, Jeannette, I am afraid the title must be robbed from you, highly enviable, and of our absolutely unknown company, Mademoiselle Lisette Marie de Bourbon is of royal blood, but surprisingly is said to be worthy to join our midst. She is but 17, therefore I beg of you, gentlemen, to put on your finest masks of duplicity and civility. Remember, appreciation is a wonderful thing. It makes what is excellent in others belong to us as well. Let us now, then, appreciate. I was flustered and confused not only by this awkward introduction, which had persuaded the other gentlemen to laugh, rise, and bow their heads as they returned to their game, but by the entire company of the sort I had least expected to encounter. So this is a little royal girl, and she gets in the midst of these loud talking philosophers full of modern ideas at that time. But by the entire company of the sort I least expected to encounter, and perhaps never even seen. My heart beat wildly as when I had first been presented to court, and I know not what to make of the matter. "The pauvre dear is all fright now, Voltaire," exclaimed Emily, shaking her head disapprovingly at her companion. "Do disregard his comments, often uncalled for. In time you will understand that they mean nothing." "I suppose it is as much as I mean to you, my dear Emily," smiled Voltaire, also resuming his seat. I again examined his features, his thin, compressed lips that curled into a coy smile, and was so near that nose with the wide nostrils and the wide bump at the end of it, his small yet somehow bulging eyes, as though the places provided for their rest were not sufficient for his eager glance, his high forehead with the grand showers of curls falling over his shoulders. So I did a lot of study on how Voltaire actually looked, and looked at portraits of him and descriptions of him. So that's how I kind of gathered this. Showers of curls falling over his shoulders, the slightly hunched back, the slender frame, and he seemed to me a sort of comedian who looked much older than he was, but comported a mien that belied it all, and knew himself to be the youngest of us all. "Exactement, Voltaire," responded the hostess of the chateau. "Make haste, Emily, and gather some refreshments for the ladies," ordered Voltaire. "No, I shall prepare some chocolat and tea for Lisette," cried Jean-Antoinette, releasing my arm, and gamboled to the corner of the room behind the table where the food and drinks and other utensils were uploaded for the guests. "Play your cards, mademoiselle?" inquired Emily kindly, pointing to the engaged gentleman as she led me to the table. I do, a little," I muttered with great diffidence. Seat her across, sorry, it's hard to see the light. Seat her across D'Alembert. D'Alembert is actually one of the encyclopedists from the 18th century. "And let us get it over with," commanded Voltaire, but turned his attention to Madame d'Étoile behind him, and added, "Jeannette, were you to bestow half as much love upon us as you do upon the Mademoiselle de Bourbon, we should be very happy men indeed. See how she dotes upon you, mademoiselle." I peered up and saw her veritably smiling at me as she poured some drink into porcelain cups. At length she laughed and said, "Merely because she deserves my affection, whereas you gentlemen do not. I have an announcement to make, therefore hear all, hear all. Mademoiselle Lisette Marie de Bourbon is the kindest lady, save for Emily, but you are my elder, and this we cannot be on equal terms, I have ever chanced to meet, and her virtues surpass her status, for she thoroughly disregards mine. It is as I have always said, men are equal. It is not birth, but virtue that makes the difference," advocated Voltaire, as I was seated to the left of the table, of which Voltaire sat at its north end, and a man of 32 across him, who gave me quite a scare when I first noticed him, for no wig adorned his head, because in that time everyone was wearing these powdered white wigs, and had merely his own very short brownish hair. "Yea, Denise," had occasionally, and had never had the energy to, sorry, I can't read, some of the writing is like scribbled here, to bend down to retrieve it since. I fear he has, from that time onwards, lost his head as well, and I wonder how he manages to fool us all with that illusionary thing on his neck. Well, anyway, I could go on, but it's late, and I just wanted to pop in for a little reading, which maybe, if anything, it can put you to sleep. Have a lovely night, and I'll try to do more of these reading things. They're very relaxing. All right, good night.